consent agenda, which is items 4 through 9. Does anyone have any questions? Actually, question number for regarding the water rights. I don't know, Jerry, if you all are bombarded with that, with everything going on. I know there's a lot of things on hold and several projects maybe. So in the, you guys find it, please contact Henry and I. I'm sure that maybe Steve will allow us to pick up the documents, sign them, and then take them to Henry, and then he signs them so we can move forward. My biggest fear is that once we get over all this, I don't want us to be so backlogged that Henry and I will be signing hundreds and thousands of documents. Okay.
We'll check during the following week and we'll let you know what we have ready.
Yeah, and that way, you know, we can pull in, someone can run out and give them to us, and then we take them home, sign them, return them, notify you, and then we'll just play it by ear, okay? Does anyone have any questions regarding the consent agenda items 4 through 9? Mr. Estrada?
At this time,
Mr. Trujillo?
No question.
You, Mr. Chavez?
no questions, not at this time.
With that in mind, and no one has any questions, I so move to approve the consent agenda.
Excuse me, can you guys hear me?
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
did.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I'm probably showing as summer. I put in there, as,
You are.
so don't block me out. That's me, okay? Just-
Time.
and I'm learning. Can you see me or no?
No.
No,
No,
Okay. I hit with video, but when this computer's older, but I'm here, just so you know.
Okay.
But you can hear me, right?
yes,
Yes.
Okay, I have no questions. I have no questions.
no questions. I so move to approve the consent agenda. Do I hear a
Thank
second?
you. Second.
Seconded by Mr. Trujillo. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries. The next item on
Mr. Hill, before we go to the regular agenda, it'd be good at this time to ask the district if they received any emailed comments from any of the agenda items. I don't know the answer to that question yet.
Okay, did we, Dolores or Mr. Grijalva? Cindy?
No, we don't know.
No, we don't have anything.
None?
Nothing.
Okay, then we don't have anything to read. That's fine. Thank you.
Already, thank you. Item 10, the general manager's report. Mr. Grijalva, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Ryan, let's see if this works.
It will.
I can see it.
Ooh,
Almost. It's
now?
close enough.
Yep.
All right, go to the next slide. Okay, that's basically what we'll be talking about. All right, next one. Okay, so basically with regard to the COVID-19 emergency, here are the what we've implemented here at the district to be able to keep both our employees safe and the public safe and commerce going. Okay, so we're employing the 6-foot distance rule to include when people are driving in their vehicles. So you're going to see vehicles with only one person in it, and that's so that we can keep our field people apart from each other so that they don't they're not as contagious. Okay, so that's one of the efforts we're doing. We've closed the office to the public, right? And we're asking employees not to work second jobs that deal with the public, at least until April 30th. We had several employees who were working with the public, and we told them that that's an issue with regard to passing on the COVID-19 virus to us. So we told them to refrain from doing that at least until April 30th. We're also asking that people that have certain certifications and licenses to get them mentored and trained up in case we have some vacancies, somebody from within the district can fill in. Most specific to this is the commercial licenses. Anybody with a commercial license, we're asking that they learn how to drive not only a trash truck, but a Vector or a heavy equipment truck that's hauling one of our loaders. so that if somebody gets sick, somebody else can take over that's already licensed.
That's a good idea.
We've been as liberal as the board asked us to be with employee absences. We'll talk about a little bit about this continuance as we reached a couple of motions that refer to the employees. So we're giving them absences for these types of illnesses or caring for children who are sick, or as the board directed, the 5-hour workday so that they can deal with their children at home. We've also implemented telework for the most at-risk personnel primarily. Secondly, to ensure redundancy of our personnel so that, and this is mostly in the customer service area, most of our customer service people do phone call type responding to billing statements and stuff. So we've got half of them working at home, the other half at work, and then we switch them. Again, we may change that in the foreseeable future, but for now, that's what we're doing.
So what happens if I work late and then I want to go pay my bill, but I'm a person who, well, I wouldn't drop my payment off, but let's say that I don't do that. Let's say I'm an individual that doesn't have a checking account, probably pays cash.
Right.
And we're closing at 1:30, like we said, but they can't go in till after the afternoon. So what are we doing there?
Okay, what I'm going to suggest in the motions that follow is that we turn it into a 10-hour workday. If you guys want to continue with your 5-hour schedule for each employee, we can make a group of employees come in from 7 to 12 and another group of employees from 12 to 5. And that way we cover those times because we are getting a lot of backlog in our drive-through window.
Yeah, and I've also received call, text messages regarding the office being closed. They're trying to build, they're going to be cut off.
We're having a hard time hearing you. I had a difficult, I didn't understand what you said. You're
Try it
probably
again.
close to the mic.
Okay. I've been receiving phone calls and texts regarding, they were asked if the office was closed. They're trying to pay the bills and they're afraid that they're going to be cut off. And I told, at this time, nobody's going to be cut off, but office they drop off the bill through the drive-through window, but I don't have the hours. I wasn't sure if you're working just to 1:30.
Yeah, we haven't had really too many problems in the drive-through with regard to accepting payment because it hasn't been the start of the month. As the month begins, that's when people start showing up to pay their bills. And I think next week is going to be a big week with regard to people showing up in the drive-through to pay their bills. Even though we're not cutting anybody off, they're still paying they're making every attempt to pay their bills on time. We're just not open long enough for them to do it.
Hey, but do you
That's
have
right.
the space for the drive-through that you don't get backlogged? That poor person that's handling the drive-through must have a long line, no?
Well, sometimes, yes. And sometimes what happens is the line goes all the way out across around the building. So, and that's the reason for that picture you see there. That's a portable drive-through that we're going to hook up for accepting only credit card payments so that we can roll that thing out and whenever there's a big line and accept the credit card payments there and process people faster. Plus the longer workday, if you guys approve it, is going to help as well.
Yeah. We had said that we were going to try this, what was it, 8:30 to 1:30. We thought we were going to try for 2 weeks and see how it worked. And then if things got bad, which obviously things are getting worse, I believe it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I think if everybody does their part and practices the social distances, hopefully we'll get through this. But that's all we need. I think people don't understand. We're not Walmart and we're not Sam's that we can open at certain hours or whatever the case may be. But it could be that we may need to work on that 7 to 12 and 12 to 5. But that's like Steve said, that's at your discretion. You see what's going on there. you're going to know what needs to take place. And I believe the board's going to support you over there. I think you've done a great job, you and the entire staff in trying to see this through. It's been very difficult for everyone throughout the world.
Okay, that's easy enough for me to do.
Ms.
Thank
Mejia, if I may, Ms. Mejia, Mr. Carrasco? May I? I was just gonna say, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, I was just gonna say, Jerry, you know, they're gonna have lines. You're gonna, you know, I was at Costco today and I was in line just to get in for an hour. So the idea of people in line and waiting, that's just part of the it's nature of the beast right now. But like Ms. Vigil did say, I think we need to have coverage for that, at least, you know, like you said, whatever it is, 7 to 12 and 12 to 5, whatever, but somebody's got to be covering that the entire day. I
yeah,
would-
if you could see Mr. Hernandez's picture, he's cringing because he wants those bills to get paid.
Yeah, I bet. And you know what?
Yeah.
And that's another thing right now. Right now, we're saying we want to keep our people safe. We all need to be stay safe and do everything we can. But you know what the next hit's going to be? Like us in the trucking industry and any other business, is the revenue coming in to be able to pay your people. Because, you know, we're doing everything we can. The trucks are running. We've been very proactive. I can tell you exactly who has water and who has toilet paper in El Paso because I have trucks sitting out there. But now, are they going to pay on time so that we can keep our people working? That's the next step right now. We're being very compassionate and told don't disconnect anyone, and we don't intend to. But we got to keep that moving. And poor Mr. Hernandez and billing and customer service and actually everyone for you know, Mondo and his staff that has to go pick up the trash. And yeah, we have to be very proactive. And I'm sure you have a plan together because that's the next step that we're going to see how people. That's why I made sure that I went and dropped my payment. I'm just joking.
All right. Right, next slide, please.
Oh, and Mr. Carrasco, I was at Costco's this morning and thank God I'm a senior citizen. I didn't have to wait in line an hour.
Well, I'm not a senior yet, so I had to wait till later.
There you go.
I'm still too young. I'm in my
Makes you feel
early
good.
40s.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what I'd like to talk about now is the incidents that happened this week that caused the severe outage in the Clint area. I'm going to talk about the individual events and how they affected Clint. The first one was a vendor that was actually working on school property. They were working on a fire line. Now we have fire lines like this all over the district. And they hit the fire line, which is a 6-inch line. I don't know, Mr. Orozco, it's probably an 8-inch line. I'm not too sure. Anyway, that caused the leak. We shut down the leak so that the contractor could fix it, but they took way too long. So the lesson learned to us is we're going to tell them, you've got a certain time limit that you have to at least plug the leak, and then you can work on it on your own time later so that we can resume service. So that's the lesson learned from that one. The other lesson learned was we came to realize that our Alameda line isn't feeding Clint. So it's supposed to. That's the first line that actually got Clint going with El Paso Water. So we're working on figuring out why that line isn't feeding the town of Clint and providing service to the town of Clint, and then we're going to fix that as well. The East Tank failure was two things. One, there was a lack of some preventive maintenance on some of the valves. I'll take the hit for that one. We will start a rigorous preventive maintenance program that's computer generated. So these guys actually have some sort of an email or something telling them, this is the checklist, go make sure you check off each one of these items, and that it happens regularly. Once that is in place, we can hold people accountable for those types of inspections. And then finally, there was also a power outage at East Lake. I don't know if it's caused by construction or if it's actually just a power outage incident. But what we're going to do is make sure that our power generators are functional and that we have the portable generator immediately on site so that we don't have to pump up the station if it's the water pumping
Sure.
if it's down too long. What happened in Clint was it was down for a significant period of time, and we had to slowly regenerate all of the pressure while at the same time bleeding out all of the fire hydrants along the way. And that's what took the majority of the time to get Clint back up and running. So basically, that's what happened and how we're going to react to it from here on in. All right,
Yes, sir.
Ryan, next slide.
Jerry,
Yes, sir.
going back to but you said it hit the school property fire line.
Yeah,
That wouldn't affect the domestic line, would it?
Mr. Carrasco, what happened there is, it's an 8-inch fire line that runs in the middle of the San Isidro High School.
Uh-huh.
They were boring from Socorro into the school, and they hit that line. And we couldn't find the valve that shuts down the fire line there that goes into the property. And on the East Lake tank on the generator, it didn't kick on the way it's supposed to. The switch got stuck, and we had to go out there and pull it down and get it going.
Okay.
And that's what happened there on that.
Okay. And all I'm saying, it just seemed like it's such a far distance from like where you're saying San Estadio, the East Lake tanks, and it really just caused, and then you see Clint, I guess, kind of somewhat in the middle.
yeah, those were the only two water sources for Clint at the time. Alameda wasn't feeding Clint.
I got you. But you said East Lake went down because why?
The number one, the breaker problem, the generator not kicking in. The second thing was we had a valve there that hadn't been maintained in some time, and the valve clogged up and caused the SCADA problem, and the pump shut down.
So the one that the contractor messed up, are they responsible for the fees or?
Yeah, we're gonna charge them for the water loss. We actually had to lend them pipe and connections to be able to fix the leak. So we'll
No.
charge them for that and our labor for having been there on site with them.
On that issue with the fire line, there is no valve to the fire line. You can't have a valve to the fire line. So somebody shuts off the valve and you think you have water and you don't. The other thing is, I think it would be easier if, I don't care who breaks it, Lower Valley Water digs it up, fixes it, and then bills the contractor. We can't sit around and waiting.
Yes,
for the
definitely.
contractor to get a contractor to come and fix it.
And that's understandable. What happened there is that the Sanetti was there and everything, and they said they had the dressers and everything to fix it. And there is a tap and sleeve valve for every fire line. The tap and sleeve valve is the main line that goes in there, but it's underground. So that's, we couldn't find it. It wasn't directly straight the way it was supposed to be where it's at. I got a crew going out there we're gonna be sending somebody out there to look for it and make sure we find all the fire line valves on that Socorro line since it's so old also.
Is that somebody's speaker?
I don't know.
Okay, onto the project. Ryan, next one. Oh, okay, Bejar Estates. Basically, you've got a motion there to allow me to purchase a piece of property for a lift station for Bejar Estates. Next one, Ryan. Cuadrilla, these are the latest pictures. They've got a fence around it. They're still doing the construction. That's the best I can tell you on what's happening with Cuadrilla. They're slowly running out of time, so they're going to have to move fast. Next one, Ryan. For Rosa Azul, we're going in for an ad bank grant, a $500,000 grant. They threw us a curveball though. Last week, they asked us to give them right of entries for the 330 affected residents, and they want them as soon as possible. So we've got new installations to do a surge, and we're going to send out 330 letters to each one of the residents so that they can sign the right of entry for us to do their yard lines, and then the Nat Bank is going to accept the proposal. We stand a very good chance of acquiring that funding. It's almost 99%, but we have to meet the deadline of getting the right of entries to the Nat Bank as soon as possible. All right, next one, Ryan. Mesa del Norte, you've got a motion before the board as well on that one. Go ahead, next one, Ryan. And this is basically what our lobby is turning into so far. I just wanted to give you an update on what the construction looks like. If anything good comes
Beautiful.
out of this is we're able to work on in the lobby without any problems. And that's it.
I still say we should have moved the receptionist forward a little more so that people see her. But that looks good.
The room in the back is actually, for the receptionist, is actually like 8 feet, and the cashiers is about 4 to 5 feet. There's a lot of room that we added to it that makes them really comfortable.
That's good. Does anyone have any questions regarding the GM report? Hello?
No question.
No question.
You guys are still alive, okay. Item 11,
Evan.
this possible action to approve the University of Texas at El Paso's professional services agreement amendment. Ryan?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just going to share my screen real quick. Give me 1 second.
I see you, Mr. Hernandez. There you are. I thought you were hiding.
Where are you?
Okay. Basically, this is just an agreement for professional services with you, to extend the existing contract that we had with the civil engineering department and Dr. Raed Al-Dudi to continue working to complete the asset management database for all the assets in the Geographic Information Systems database. The amendment timeframe will be from April 1st, 2020 to September 31st of 2021. The cost is going to be $130,000. Basically, what they're going to be doing is continuing the work that they started last year. They finished about, I think, 75% of all of these subdivisions. And what they're going to be doing is identifying subdivisions without any drawings or engineering as-built, and then they're going to be letting us know so we can produce them. And then we'll be placing them in there as items in the database so they can be clickable for people out in the field. They're just going to basically be fixing all of our data. This would help with something that Mr. Grijalvo mentioned earlier, was the application with valves, so that the guys out in the field know which valves are open or closed. We just need to have good data in order to complete those types of things. So the administration is recommending approval for the amendment of the professional services agreement with the University of Texas, El Paso. And I did talk to Dr. Al-Dudi. This work can be done remotely. The students are already working on this at home. It's something they do at home, or all they need is a computer to access the data and edit it.
Are they going to give us a discount because they're going to work from home?
Now, one thing I want to add to this is the 130,000 was the 3 GIS people we didn't hire that year. We still haven't hired any GIS people. We've got a couple of people here that do some of that as a part of an additional duty to their jobs. But we still haven't hired the 3 personnel, which again will save us the 130,000.
And I really think right now with everything going on, and I think we need to put a hold on a lot of things. So I'm glad you're working, being able to do without having to hire them right now. I know that everyone needs help. I can see the stores and residents needing help, but everybody else, I think we need to do everything we can to eliminate bringing new people on board to keep the current ones safe right now. So what you're saying is because we haven't hired, that's going to help us with the 130,000 that's going to cost, correct? Is that what you're saying?
No, UTEP has already been working on this project for a year already. And they have 2 students that have been working with our data for a year. They would just be continuing to work on our data. They don't come to the office. If they need to go out in the field, they can go and collect data in the field. But it's not going to be any new people. It's just saying the cost is 130,000. We're supposed to have 2 GIS employees, and we also didn't renew the entire technical help that we get from Esri. That was 50,000 last year. We reduced that to 19,000. So
I think you misunderstood what I said.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't part of the initial decision. It was Mahai.
Right. But the thing is that you just stated, Mr. Grijalva, that you haven't hired those 3 people that we
No.
agreed to hire. So that's going to help with the costs that we're inquiring right now.
Yeah, we're actually hiring UTEP to hire UTEP students, and that's where
Exactly.
Ryan's coming in.
Right. So we're not bringing new staff members on board right
No.
now.
Ms. Villa,
Okay,
if I may, I think what it is really is UTEP is just really charging a fee
Right.
to continue doing this. It's, however they do it, but they're going to send students to get it done and take care of it. It's just more a fee that I don't think they're actually paying these students, but I'm pretty sure it's a work study, but it's more a fee, I think, involved for UTEP, for the University of Texas, El Paso.
Yeah, and they actually detail the actual fees and what they're paying for it. So we can provide you that information in either the finance or investment committee meetings.
Because our GIS person, who's our GIS person there?
Basically,
That's-
Ryan and Cruz right now.
That's who?
Ryan and Cruz. The first 2 people trained were Ryan and Adrian, but Adrian has since left. So both Ryan and Cruz are trained in the GIS right now.
yeah,
We have an additional duty for a new installations employee who works water rights. His name is Daniel De Leon. Daniel Diaz De Leon.
And do we feel after this, I guess it's not really a year, it's like a year and 18 months, it seems like. So after that, pretty much it will be taken care of. They're not going to come back and want to do it like for another 18 months, for another 130,000.
No, they should be done by then. The problem is we keep growing, so we keep adding to it, and we keep adding engineering drawings and as-built. So we'll have to build our own in-house capability for that, and hopefully we can hire one of the students working the project, so to make it seamless for them. They'll just jump in and start working for us doing this after they're done with the project.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
No questions.
No question.
Or do I hear a motion to approve this item as presented?
I make motion to approve.
As long as it doesn't exceed 130,000, I think, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'll go. Yes, ma'am. So
I
moved.
second that motion.
It's been seconded by Mr. Estrada. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Let's give it a few minutes. I think Mr. Chavez is experiencing problems. Ryan, I think the phone number to call in if I'm correct, so that Mr. Chavez can get in, is that the because it says, is that the 253-215-8782? That's what's coming up here.
No, if he clicks on the, sorry about that. If he clicks on the calendar invite, there's a number that says One Tap Mobile toll free dial in. If he clicks on that, it should just shoot him into the meeting.
Okay, because the, okay, because I was gonna say what I have here from you shows the dial by your location, and then it says in the US, and it gave that number. So let's try to see if he can log in, dial in.
This is Steve. I just texted him the 253
did?
number with the ID. I don't know if he's trying it or not.
That's the one I sent him as well. Okay, let's hope it works for him.
He's also got the link, and we sent him the ID and password earlier.
Might be easier just if he just calls on his phone. It may be, I mean, he may not, we don't see him, but I mean, you can't, I don't know why you can't see me. I don't know what's going on, but it may be easier for him just on the phone and then punch that in. That's what I did the other day for the test.
Looks like he's showing up.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm in and out. So I'm gonna try to dial in on my cell phone as well.
Okay, so there was a motion made by Mr. Trujillo, I believe, or Mr. Estrada, Mr. Carrasco, and seconded by you, Mr. Trujillo?
Estrada,
Was that correct?
from Estrada.
Estrada?
Estrada, it was Estrada.
Carrasco and Estrada. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion and carries. Item 12, discussion and possible action to approve a new bank agreement with Westar Bank. Mr. Hernandez?
Good evening, board members and co-workers. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hear you.
Yes.
Okay. At this moment, we don't have an agreement with Western Bank.
That's Rod. Is that you, Rod? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You are now. There are more than 20 participants in the meeting. You are muted. You have been put on hold by you are muted.
Okay.
You there? All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm on the cell phone as well.
Mr. Hernandez, I must apologize. We had some financial statements that I was supposed to present, that I was gonna ask Mr. Hernandez to present in the general manager's piece, and I failed to do that.
Okay. Do you want to present it now or we can? Okay, let's go with Western. At this point, we don't have an agreement with Western Bank. What we're proposing to the board is to sign an agreement with Western with no expiration date. The only thing that is going to increase is just the cash manager fees from 35 to 50. That's the only thing that is going to increase. The problem that we're having is that when we receive $50,000 of ACH payments, we cannot receive more with a Western authorization, and we have to start calling them and asking for authorization. We have been doing this for 6 months because we were waiting to do a competitive process, but at this moment it's better to have an agreement with no expiration date because it's easier for us. And that's what we're requesting to the board, that the board approve the new bank agreement with Western Bank. If you have any question, just let me know.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, we lost you for a little bit of period of time. So you're asking that instead of us having to individually ask Westar Bank for greater than $50,000 deposits, that they accept them as part of this new agreement?
Yes, it's better to have an agreement because the problem that we're having is that once we reach the limit of $50,000, we need Western authorization to get additional payments. That's why at this point, it's better to have a new agreement with them, sign the agreement with no expiration date.
And this is what you recommend, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, 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 because what happened usually, we receive around $60,000 of ACH payment. That is electronic payments.
Okay.
People that register and pay using their bank account. And we're promoting this at this moment. And what happened is that probably in the third week, we reached to $50,000 and we have to call Westar, and then we need authorization, and it's difficult for us.
Mhm.
And again, no expiration date. If something happened, we can terminate the contract, just notifying Western, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay, I guess what I think we kind of should do is mute if we're not going to talk, because I think someone's speaker. Okay, so if no one has any questions, do I hear a motion to,
I'll make the motion to approve David Carrasco.
okay, who second? Was that you, Mr. Chavez?
Yes, that was me.
So
Right.
you second that, correct? So there's been a motion by Mr. Carrasco and seconded by Mr. Chavez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is 13, discussion and possible action to authorize management to start evaluating other banks to provide banking services.
Okay, at this moment, we have just Western Bank, and we are very concerned. As you know, the interest rate went down. The market is a little bit crazy at this moment. We believe that it's convenient to have at least one other bank as a backup, just in case. The other day, 2 weeks ago, for any reason, Western Bank wasn't able to process the payroll, even though we sent all the files on time. And the employee has to wait until 2 or 3 o'clock to receive their direct deposit. And I believe that that's not fair. We are concerned with this. What we're requesting to the board is that at this moment, authorize us to have like a competitive process and maybe we can evaluate like 3 banks so that we can have like a second bank as a backup. For example, to have another payroll account and another operating account just in case we need to use it. Because again, if something happens at this moment, we cannot cut checks, we cannot pay to our people, and we need to have another bank as a backup. That's our recommendation.
In other words, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, and basically, I don't know if it was incidental, but this actually happened the day of that 2,000 point drop in the stock market. The next day, they couldn't produce payroll for us for a period of hours.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, does anyone have any questions, directors, regarding this?
I have no questions.
I so move that we go ahead and approve and allow Mr. Hernandez to go out and try to evaluate some other banks that maybe we can move into, have another bank on hand. That's the motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
And who
Trujillo.
seconded that?
Mr. Trujillo.
Henry.
Mr. Trujillo, all those, okay, so it's been moved and seconded by Mr. Trujillo. All those in favor say aye.
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 The opposed, motion carries. Item 14, discussion and possible action to authorize management to evaluate and switch to a credit card with no annual fees.
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez?
We had a conversation with American Express. At this moment, American Express is our credit card provider. They are offering a product that is like with no annual fees. And I believe there is a good opportunity, or we believe, sorry, there is a good opportunity for the district to switch to this kind of service that with no annual fees. At this moment, we're paying $55 per card, and they want to increase to $75 per card. We switch, to the other service that they have, we're not going to pay any annual fee. And that's why we're requesting to the board to give us authorization to speak with American Express so that they can, so that we can have credit card with no annual fees.
If there's no questions, I'll make the motion to approve. It makes a lot of common sense.
And
It's been
yeah,
moved. Do I
this
have a
Mr. I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Estrada. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, consider and take action to award Mesa del Norte subdivision sanitary sewer improvements phase 2, Lower Valley Water District 20-0227-01. Rosa, how are you?
Good, Mr. Heath, how are you?
Good. You and your family stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all your support. Good evening, everyone, board members, Mr. Blanco, staff. The district published the Mesa del Norte subdivision sanitary sewer improvement phase 2, LVWD bid number 20-022701, February 4th, and a second time on February 11th. The project will allow for the contractor to continue to provide the necessary infrastructure to be able to accommodate the installation of a new lift station to serve the Mesa del Norte residents. The district did receive 3 bids, and the bids ranged from $367,900 to $415,710. These totals do include alternates number 1 and alternate number 2. We received bids from CSA Constructors, Spartan Construction, and Skyridge Construction. CEA Consultant, which is the design engineer for the project, they conducted the evaluation of a low bidder meeting required criteria as per scope of work, as stated on the bid document. In your packets, we provided you with CEA's evaluation matrix on their results of the evaluation. I am going to need a little help with the motion because of the alternate number 1 and alternate number 2. The administration is requesting awarding the Mesa del Norte subdivision sanitary sewer improvements phase 2, LVWD number 20-0227-01 to CSA Constructors. In the lump sum, Mr. Long, are we going to award lump sum plus both alternates or a combination of lump sum and alternate 1 or 2?
I would say with both alternates.
Okay, so the lump sum, okay, so the base bid for CSA was $235,100. And I didn't bring my bid packet, but there's an alternate number 1 for $86,800, and then alternate number 2 for $29,450. I don't know if maybe you might wanted to discuss what alternate number 1 and 2 entail for the board members, and if we were going to award both alternates along with lump sum.
So I'm going to do this by memory. So I don't have the document in front of me. The base bid was to extend water and sewer lines across North Loop to the Lions Club property. Alternate 1, I believe, was to do modifications to the existing culvert that's there at the Lions Club, so it would handle the weight of a tanker truck. And I believe alternate 2 was to do the secondary culvert. So the site would actually have 2 culverts going into it.
Okay. Do we want to award the project with both alternates then, which would be a total of $351,350?
So when it's all said and done, we would need the 2 entrances into the property so that the trucks could maneuver into the property, fuel up, and then pull out of the property as well.
And we want CSA to do all three.
So they were low bid. If you add up all the base bid and the two alternates, they were the low bid compared to the other two contractors.
Yes, the total bid with all three, which is the base bid plus both alternates, would be a total of $351,350. And that is what we're asking the board to consider and approve for this agenda item.
I just think, if I may, Ms. Mejia, if I may, there was no backup on the show these numbers. I think these numbers need to be showed to us so we can look at them. Because it says that it just shows the ranges, but on the bottom where you're asking us to what you're recommending, it doesn't say anything about it. I think in the future, these figures need to be provided to us prior to us approving them. Because I don't have any backup on this item 15. I have no backup at all. You may have it on the, is that correct, or am I misspeaking? I'm not sure.
Well, you know what, you don't have, you're right, you don't have the description of alternate 1 or 2. It's just, it's the evaluation by CEA and their recommendation. That's what should have been the backup and the matrix on evaluating CSA meeting all the required criteria.
Correct. And I guess that's what I'm asking. I mean, did anybody else see it? I mean, I don't know if you all had an engineering committee meeting or I'm not sure. I'm just asking. So you said the range were from 367,900 to 415. So including the alternates, it's 351, 360. Am I correct?
Okay, so Skyward Construction, their bid with the two alternates. So the range took into account alternate 1 and alternate 2. So CSA, it's 351,350 with the lump sum, the base bid plus alternate 1 and alternate 2.
Okay. But if you look at, if you see the memorandum, that's not what it says. It says the bids range from 367,900. So you're saying you want us to approve 351, 360?
Right, 351,350. So on the memo, it says bids range from 367,900, and the highest bid was 415,710, and that includes alternate number 1 and alternate number 2. So if you look at CSA's breakdown, it has a base bid all the way across for all respondents, and then below it'll say alternate number 1 and alternate number 2 in your packets. So the numbers the range that I'm providing include alternate 1 and 2.
Okay.
So the contract will be approved not to exceed 351,350, including what Mr. Long just described on the culverts.
Okay, and I might be misspeaking. You guys, everybody else can see those numbers? Because I can't see them on my hard copy. I don't see those numbers you're looking at. Everybody else can see them?
I think what he's trying to say is that you're recommending that we go with 351,000, which is CSA, but those numbers are not on there. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Carrasco?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I don't see them, but do you, because I might be misspeaking, but I don't see them here. So, but if you want to approve it for 351, okay, but I just don't see those. Ed, do you see them? Are you providing them to us? Ed Long? Did you provide that backup to the board? Does the board see those numbers?
No, this is something that was submitted to purchasing and CSA.
No, but you would have been in a meeting that knows these numbers, right? You would have been in the meeting to know these numbers. Did you submit the backup for it?
No, Rose is the one that submitted the backup for this.
So you don't know you don't know the numbers of what we're going to do for this project?
I saw the matrix and I saw that CSA was the low bid.
Okay.
So I do concur with Rosa's recommendation. I don't have the document in front of me. So.
See, I don't either. That's what I'm asking.
I think everyone's confused. The backup that we were provided is a memo from you, Rosa, which I understand what Mr. Carrasco is saying. And it states right in the middle of the section where it says bids range from 367,900 to 415. And nowhere on this memo or anything attached to it Because even when you started speaking, I was like, where's 351?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I did provide the memo, and then there was a second, well, I had my email. I don't know if Cindy saw it, but yeah, you should have been provided with the memorandum NCEA's matrix. And that was in the email I sent Ms. Medina. I apologize.
So who evaluated this? Was the engineering team and was anybody from Laura Valley on this evaluation? On this bid evaluation or no?
If I may explain, okay, the procedure when we outsource to the consultant engineers, part of their agreement is to evaluate all of the respondents, and they provide us with the matrix, and then before we come to the board, it is provided to the engineering department so that they can review and they are in agreement. Usually these projects, they're always, when we advertise as a bid, there really isn't any negotiation. It always is awarded to a low bid that meets the criteria. And that's what the consultant engineer will do, is that they will go out and evaluate them. So if they meet the criteria, then they're awarded the project.
I understand. I understand that's what we hired, but I just want to make sure that somebody on our staff is there to know what's going on, to make sure that they're for the best interest is we know exactly what's taking place, because we need to know this stuff.
There is an oversight. There is an oversight by engineering department, Mr. Long, and if you'd like to elaborate, you're in constant communication with Mr. Estrada in this case, where they're providing you this information for your review. So that's the oversight on the Lower Valley Water District.
And we were also, I was also apprised of the bids and continued on with that. So we were all apprised of it. What we're missing now is providing you guys with the matrix.
Yes.
And that was our mistake. We can send it to you if you'd like to do that.
But there's an oversight of what, Mr. Grell?
Excuse me?
There's an oversight. Miss Rivera said there's an oversight that maybe Mr. Long could explain. What's the oversight?
Well, we were all part of the meeting with Ulysses when he explained to us what the matrix looks like and who he suggested we should pick.
Okay. But you see, do you understand my question? The number you're asking us to approve is not here. So,
right. I
so
understand
and it's
that.
fine. It's less, and that's fine. But what I'm saying, it's small things, but it's a big thing because it's not the right figure you're asking us to approve, and it doesn't say anything on here.
I wish I could. Cindy may be able to get off the iPad or the computer and look for the email and then send it to Ryan, and Ryan can actually. Huh?
I'm looking at the email now. I don't know if Ryan can.
Yes, he can. If you send it to Ryan, Ryan can show it on the screen.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I'm okay. It's less, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah, 351,350.
Just make sure you clarify. Make sure it's clear that we know we're going to approve, because right now I don't know what we're going to approve. 351, 360. Am I correct?
No, 351,350.
Okay.
Okay, so we all understand that we missed some misinformation, but let me ask, did the engineering committee before all this happened, did you all get to meet on this item? Did the engineering committee meet regarding this?
We didn't meet on it, no.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if it's the recommendation of the committee, then we need to do it, but we need to get the directors the proper documentation so that tomorrow we know that we went ahead and approved this item, but we have something to back it up, okay? And I think we're okay with that, right, Steve?
Yes, the agenda item is fine for the approval. You're below the range that they're talking about.
But I understand what Mr. Carrasco is saying is, okay, guys, next time we all made a mistake. We
You can
understand.
forward that email to all of the board members right now, right?
Send
It's
it to
okay.
us.
And please,
Just forward it to you and Ryan. The only thing I'm seeing is, let me see.
Yeah, that's it.
That's on the screen now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, Mr. Carrasco can't see the screen.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay, just send it to each director, Cindy, and we'll be okay. Alrighty? So, the motion, I guess Steve needs to read that we are in agreement to award Mesa del Norte subdivision and sanitary sewer improvement phase 2 to CSA not to exceed 351,000 and
Well, I
whatever
would
the total
suggest that
figure
you
was.
award it with the base bid to include the two alternates. They have the numbers, unless Rosa can read the numbers out for us.
Yes, the base bid is 235,100. The administration is recommending the board approve the contract, the base bid, along with alternate number 1 for a total of 86,800, and alternate number 2 for 29,450, for a total contract not to exceed 351,350.
And that's
And
my
that is the
motion.
low, that is the lowest
Do
bidder.
I hear- Right. That is my motion. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Mr. Estrada, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'll abstain. I'll abstain.
Okay, Henry.
Yeah.
Mr. You abstain.
Yes.
All those in favor say, all those in favor said aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. One abstain, which is Trujillo. Item 16, discussion and possible action regarding land acquisitions for Bajada Estate project. Mr. Chavez, you still with us?
Yes, Ms. Vigil, I'm on the cell phone here. I think my system, the iPad keeps dropping off.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Mr. Flores is going to present this item.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of the board, staff, the backup that I submitted for the listing price of this property on Milton is the listing price of $37,000. We are recommending for us to be able to purchase a property, give the authority to Mr. Grijalva for us, for staff to go ahead and get this property for the Bajada Estates project. And also, this will also encompass the property behind the subdivision. So this particular property will do a twofold for the lift station for this subdivision.
And so how much did you say that was for?
Right now, the listing price for that that lot is $37,000. It's a little bit less than half an acre. It's 0.45 acres.
And it's an even 37,000?
Yes, ma'am. And also, what we're trying to do as well is, since we're dealing with a land broker, the closing costs that is going to make the price go a little bit higher, but the price of the property is $37,000.
And do we know what the closing cost is going to be?
I would suggest anything can happen like it did the last time, and we don't want to wait till the next meeting to decide. If you guys set an upper limit of 50,000, I think we can work within that.
Or maybe we only want to give you 40.
Aye.
We had a difficult, Madam President, may I ask, is the other property that we were working with fell through because it just took a long time for us to go back and forth on the price. We need to act quickly, because if they find out that it's the district that is acting on getting this property, I'm afraid that there's gonna just raise the price even higher.
Does the property have any restrictions on it?
It's a property that's inside the city of Socorro. When we were doing for the Rosa Azul project, it's the same criteria. As long as we notify the city of Socorro that this is for the good of the area, and they need a letter from us saying that what we're doing, and that should clear everything out, based on the conversation that we had with Ms. Rodarte, the city manager, and also Mr. Medina, the city planner for the city of Socorro.
Yeah, I think it's fine to go ahead and get a commitment letter in place and an agreed price, but anything that we do has to be contingent on the property being useful and not subject to some restriction that prevents us from installing the facilities that you want to use. I remember that was a problem with one of the pieces of property that we looked at. We couldn't actually use it.
Yeah, I think there was a property at Mesa del Norte.
Yeah.
I guess the lot was only meant for residential purposes only.
Oh, that was part of the covenant of the development. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Madam President, I humbly ask that this item gets approved to give Mr. Grijalva the authority to go ahead and go forward with the purchase of this property.
Does anyone have any questions, Mr. Estrada?
How much are we approving for?
50,000.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that they're gonna go spend all 50,000. That's just giving them enough cushion in case they need to spend a little more because of the closing cost.
Okay.
Correct.
Mr. Trujillo, do you have any questions?
No question, Madam President.
And you, Mr. Carrasco? Mr.
Okay,
Carrasco,
Ryan, you may want to take it off.
Mr. Chavez?
No, ma'am. I think I'm good with not to exceed 50,000 and contingent upon that land, we could use it for our intended purposes.
I think Mr. Carrasco's on mute and doesn't realize it, and that's probably why we couldn't hear him. I so move that we approve the item as presented to us not to exceed more than 50,000 and allow Mr. Grijalva and his staff to continue negotiating and doing what they have to do to. make this
Second.
possible.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Trujillo. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Madam President, and all.
Thank you. All those in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Item 17, discussion of possible action addressing Lower Valley Water District policy concerning coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 pandemic. I hate to even say the word.
Okay, so Steve already suggested, Mr. Blanco already suggested that I've got the authority to do whatever is in this motion. What I will like to ask is what's in the following motion, so we can actually leave this one alone.
Okay, I guess the board is just saying, we know we trust you, you're gonna do what you have to do. We just need to be as fair as possible with everyone and try to keep everyone safe. And that we provide them the proper tools when they have to deal with the public. At no given time do I ever want to know that an employee is endangered in any way. I'm also asking for any managers that are on board right now with us, that this is the time we need to be compassionate. I'm not saying that you need to allow your staff to take advantage, but right now everyone is going through a hard time. It's very stressful. It's, you can only imagine what each one of us are having to deal with. I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell our managers where I am employed at. We need to be, I'm not saying that people can go get dressed and come with low-cut blouses and see-through blouses and the men with Bermuda shorts. But what I am saying is that we need to try to be compassionate. People can be comfortable and let's not be rude and let's try to understand their needs and try to help them out through this process. That's all I ask, because it is very difficult and it's been really hard for all of us. And managers, you are the role models and the leaders for your staff. And so I ask you that you practice as much as possible to be compassionate to your staff, because together we're all one, okay? With that in mind, I guess, we don't need any approval or on this item, correct?
Correct.
Okay, item 18, consider and take action to continue with the hours of operation authorized by the Board of Directors with regard to COVID-19 emergency. I think those are the hours that you're going to use, 7 to 12 and 12 to 5. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Grijalva?
Yeah, the expiration of the 5-hour day was today. So we're asking you guys to extend it to April 30th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then we'll deal with it at the next meeting.
And I'm in agreement. I think that every day, we all know, I'm sure Sabrina will agree, as human resource individuals, every day we have to listen to what's going on. Every day laws change. Every day there's new demands and new restrictions. And so every day we're going to have something different. And so Mr. Grijalva, you're the GM, you will handle this, and we entrust that you're gonna do the best possible. And I'm sure you're just as stressed out as everybody else. So, I guess, ooh, that speaker is loud. I guess the motion is to allow you to do what, sir? To continue to make the decisions as the board entrusted you with? Is that correct, Steve?
I don't know if Mr. Grijalva is asking for anything specific, other than to allow for the operational decisions to be made by him, which they really already are.
Actually, we had told him we were gonna try this for 2 weeks. And so I think what he's asking is let's continue to allow him to do what he has to do to keep the operation running and keep the staff safe and everyone safe, to continue it to April 30th. And so I will make a motion to allow that to continue to April 30th.
Can I interrupt one thing on the backup? There's an item on there that includes a discussion about company vehicles being taken home, which he can certainly authorize, but Mr. Grijalva needs to make sure that we check with the insurance provider that that is within the applicable use for the vehicle, because if an employee who is not covered other than for use at work takes a vehicle home and is in an accident, it might not be a covered accident. So we need to make sure that you can do that before you let people take the vehicles home.
Okay, will do.
I'm back on. I'm not gonna ask any more questions because I got cut off as soon as, so I won't ask any other questions.
No,
I just barely got back on.
no, go ahead.
No.
We're on allowing Mr. Grijalva to continue making the decisions that's in the best interest of the staff and the public to keep everyone safe and healthy till I was gonna say October. Wow.
I said the same thing.
You guys would like that, wouldn't you? April 30th. So Steve, is that has to be in the form of a motion?
Yeah, if we limited it last time, we should go ahead and extend it.
Okay, so then that's a motion that we extend the hours of operation as authorized by the board and allow Mr. Grijalva to use his best judgment on whatever is needed to keep the staff and the public safe. That is the form of a motion till April 30th, 2020.
I
Go
second.
ahead.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mr. Chavez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Yeah, opposed, motion carries. Item 19, discussion and possible action regarding any travel previously approved. I think everyone knows here that everything's on hold. So for all you, Mr. Grijalva, I think you need to get with your managers, all those trips that were approved. We need to do whatever we can if they were suspended or were they postponed, where we can get our money back. I don't know of any entity or any credit card that's not going to allow you to get your money back. My trip for Bass to Paris was canceled. Anyhow, so let's try to make sure that we have all that in order and that we don't leave anything pending so that we do get the proper credit back. I think that everyone needs to understand that hopefully once we're through all this, there's going to be time for hugging and shaking hands and praising each other and get to travel and get back on our feet. I want to commend you, your staff, the managers, and all the employees of the Lower Valley Water District, each one of them, from the receptionist to the janitor to the drivers to the field operators. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional here. Thank you, because this has been hard. And I know all of you were affected by it. And all those that, were at high risk, we ask that you remain safe at home and that you take care of your family. We're going to see this through, and together we're going to move forward. And I hope that we learned a lot. I believe in my heart that things happen for a reason. I think sometimes we have the tendency to forget about each other, not be as compassionate. Right now, it's not about material things. It's about staying home and bonding with your family as much as possible and be there for each other. Personally, anybody that has a difficult time finding something, I am almost every day at Target, risking myself with a husband that I know I have to be careful with, trying to get whatever essential items our drivers need so that they don't have to worry while they're out on the road delivering the product that needs to get to the store. And so I know you all are doing the same thing. And so we all need to be grateful and thankful that Lower Valley Water District, like many other entities, are still open and keeping us employed. And we're going to do everything we can not to make sure that no one loses their job, but that continues to have whatever they need. We thank you. May you stay safe. My prayers are to each and every one of you. And I say thank you sincerely. With that in mind, I will move on to item 20, adjournment. Keep up the faith, keep up the good work, keep each other encouraged and motivated, and don't let anyone down. And we're going to see this through. I so move to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Who seconded that?
It was Ron.
Right.
Rod Chavez.
Mr. Chavez, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We will be meeting again. Mr. Grijalva will get together so that we know exactly when we need to have a next meeting.
I think we all need to applaud Ryan for a tremendous job that he did to put this together.
That's
There's a
right.
lot that goes behind the scenes. This is awesome.
That's right. And that's why I said that every one of you need to be applauded. You've done a great job. Ryan, thank you for making this possible. Even though Rod and Mr. Carrasco need to get a better iPad or a better.
We'll work on it.
No, I'll just stop. I won't ask questions. That way I won't get cut off. Because I think I do ask questions and they cut me off. That's all right. I won't ask more questions.
You're great. I'll let you my iPad next time.
No, I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to Mr. Mireles, to Sabrina and HR, who's hard, Rosa, Cindy, Dolores, thank you for filling in. Mr. Orozco, Ryan, Mr. Long, Mondo. I hope I didn't miss anybody else. Martha, Mr. Flo, Mr. Hernandez, who's desperate, wanting our money to come in. Thank you all. And if I didn't mention you, I'm sorry, but you all have done an excellent job. Thank you. It is 7:45 p.m. The meeting is adjourned.
7:45.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
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 Night.